Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back one more time. China just embarrasses US as China hacks US Treasury Department in major, quote-unquote, major breach. We will talk about that and more in a second. But before I move on, just to remind you, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. This is what is coming right now on the news. A Chinese state-sponsored actor hacking the US Treasury Department in what's being called a major cybersecurity breach. How they did so? Well, they have used a third-party software system that Chinese hackers were able to have access, and through that third-party software access, they were able to reveal or get into the data, workstations, and many unclassified documents. This is how it all played out, which is absolutely frightening for United States. The hackers remotely accessing several user workstations and gained access to unclassified documents after compromising a third-party software service provider, and that provider is called Beyond Trust. The provider Beyond Trust informed the department about the hack on December the 8th. The Treasury Department spokesperson says the compromised service has been taken offline. Can you imagine what kind of problem and chaos China is creating in the States? They have to now take things offline because of Chinese activities. Right now, there is no evidence China still has access to the systems. The FBI and Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency are also now investigating. What I also want to point out is this. This could be a false flag. It could be a pretext for US to use more sanction against China and try to stifle its economy, the progress they're making. It could be a false flag. Or it could be at the same time, I personally believe it is that China, they were able to hack the system and they were able to breach and they were able to embarrass the US. It was not, according to what I understand, a false flag, because Chinese, they have developed a new system. They have pioneered in AI. They're becoming this next superpower. I want you to take a look at this particular video from the US expert. He wrote a book. Let's see what this author, his name is Michael, is saying here.
Michael, I guess I'm becoming a big cynic when it comes to government systems and cybersecurity, but I was not in the least bit surprised that Treasury got hacked yesterday.
Cheryl, you're not alone. I think a lot of us are becoming cynics that the Chinese seem to have access to almost any American secrets they want to get. It obviously is good for them to focus on Treasury Department. Treasury is where the sanctions are. Treasury is where the currency manipulation issue is discussed. So, I mean, in a way, I'm surprised that they didn't hack Treasury even earlier.
Well,
he is surprised, this guy who is an expert on China and its policies and issues with the United States, expressing his surprise that China did not do it before. So it definitely shows how vulnerable United States, its system, its cyber protection, cyber securities are in the hand of China. They are absolutely, looks like to me, completely helpless.
Gravis has a question along those lines for you. She's on set with me, Samantha, go ahead.
Yeah, Michael, I wanted to ask you, clearly it seems we don't have what we need to deter these threats. They're very concerning. And I would like to know, what are your thoughts on CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency? There's been a lot of criticism that this is an agency in need of dire reform. There were reports that the agency was weaponized to go after disinformation on social media, and it was really weaponized into an agency that strayed from its true purpose. And so I actually took the time to go to their website and their Twitter. I don't see them posting anything about this. What is their response, and do you have concerns that this agency needs reform?
They really need to overhaul these agencies. They really need to get rid of a lot of people, including Elon Musk, because he is spreading disinformation. He's protecting Chinese interest on his X. Why? Because he has his Tesla factory in China, in Shanghai, I believe. This guy, he's working for Donald Trump, the guy who should not be working for Donald Trump, who is completely and utterly 100% against China and its aggressive maneuvers against US's businesses and also military. he is appointing Elon Musk to be one of his chief advisors. And guys, remember in 2005, I believe it happened, Donald Trump, he predicted the way we can tackle China is by using sanctions on them, and also by being aggressive with our policies against them. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
Yes, you've identified a really important problem, that different parts of our government are alert to the China threat to different degrees. And it's ironic that sometimes the people in charge of a really specific issue seem to be asleep at the switch. The Pentagon seems to be quite active. They put out reports, they conduct exercises, they're building a new generation of weapon systems. So the Pentagon doesn't need guidance on the China threat. Someone else who doesn't need guidance is Donald Trump himself. I'm an eyewitness that he went through real friction with most of his government in the first term on trying to get the China trade talks going and get a meaningful deal. A lot of the government just would not help Mr. Trump, and he had to conduct meetings and pretty much micromanage things himself. So I hope the lessons learned for the next term, all these mistakes that happened in the first term that President Trump had to correct. He had to fire some people too, as is well known. And if you're doing research on this, you might enjoy 4 or 5.
Okay, so yeah, Trump learned a lot from his first term, no doubt about that. We agree with that. You learn all the time. But here is the problem for the United States. China doesn't care about your tariffs. China doesn't care about your sanctions anymore. It's well past that point where China would be terrified. Oh, Trump is coming in power. They don't give a damn about Donald Trump coming into power, because they have already people in places. They have already developed those kind of system. They have advanced so much in the last 4 years that Donald Trump, when he comes into office, he will realize that he's not dealing with the same Chinese president anymore. In fact, recently when US, they have Donald Trump, he threatened China that he will be imposing tariffs on Chinese products entering into US. China in response banned export to some of the materials they were sending to United States that United States would use for its military. So China, they're dealing with this kind of threat from Donald Trump or from United States in such a way that is actually making US look very weak. When they think they are strong, United States, they think they're strong, their economy is powerful, but in reality, people are laughing. United States government is becoming a laughing stock in front of China and their policies. And now he hired Elon Musk for United States, but he is the mole. He's a Chinese mole, Elon Musk. I mean, obviously, he will have to make big compromise to prove otherwise and shut down his factories in China. But he loves China because, nobody in the States, United States, can today become a billionaire like Elon Musk unless they go to China and they cozy up to them.
Before the president is even inaugurated, and some people are already putting out things who are nominees or possible ambassadors that can mislead the Chinese. President Trump, about 25 years ago, wrote a book on how China was our major threat and what he would do if president. This is 25 years ago. And he said unpredictability and really harsh sanctions are the only way to get China's attention. It's in the book. 25 years.
Yeah, again, this kind of expert, they quote what Donald Trump said 25 years ago. Come on, wake up. Don't quote his book, what he wrote 25 years ago. China right now is a very different country. They're different every single day. They're improving, they're developing. And all the while, what United States is doing, they're protecting a foreign country, Israel. That's what they're busy with. That's all they care. Their economy, they can go to, hell, they don't care as long as they're protecting Israel. All the while, China is working day and night to build their country and to be prepared for the next superpower. Unfortunately, this is the truth. This is the reality. Take a look at what US is doing in Red Sea. They cannot even deal with the Houthis anymore. They're shooting down their own pilot, their own fighter jets. Unbelievable.
What do you make of the criticism that Elon Musk has received, in particular because of his businesses in China? He is someone that is very close to President-elect Trump right now, and of course is tasked with DOGE and cost cutting. But he has been criticized by the mainstream media because of the Tesla issue and production in China. Does that factor into what you're talking about here?
Yes, it does. Elon Musk is one of the few around President Trump who has had a lot of contact with Xi Jinping. To have success in Shanghai with his huge Tesla factory there that he's the sole owner of, that's a huge achievement. He knows how to work with the Chinese and get what he wants. On the other hand, everybody knows he'll be kind of vulnerable to pressure on the Tesla factory in Shanghai. So it cuts both ways. Elon Musk could be a major asset and someone who knows how to deal with Xi Jinping as well as President Trump, or he could be a problem that he seems to speak up and take the Chinese line from time to time.
Yeah, I don't think he can be an asset. I mean, Elon Musk is these days what he really cares at the end of the day is his position. He's the richest man, unless obviously he runs for U.S. presidency and comes under pressure from voters to shut down his factories in Shanghai. He's not going to do that. Like Shanghai industry, the Tesla factory brings him billions of dollars in revenue, and it's very cost effective because Chinese labor is much lower and cheaper than United States labor. And that's why all these companies, even Apple and big companies, they have their factories in China, plants in China. So I don't know how this will pan out for US, but to me it looks like it's not working out really well for the United States economy when it comes to China confronting their threats and breach of security.